This is CPM Cruwear from Spyderco in this Stretch XL here. The initial edge retention test that I did on the factory edge went really well. This knife performed a lot better than it should have. And yeah, so I'm very excited to see how far my own cutting edge can get in this test. I sharpened this on a KME diamond sharpening system, an angled sharpening system, which is not my favorite way of sharpening a knife, but it seems to be very consistent for these particular tests. I started off at 140, moved to 300, 600, and then 1500 grit, and finished on a fine ceramic and then on leather, of course, to remove everything that is left of that burr. Now the burr, speaking of it, formed really well. This knife in general sharpened very easy, so I was pleased to see that. Generally speaking, that's a sign of a good heat treatment if the burr gets off easily and if it sharpens well and clean. The current condition of our cutting edge is hair popping sharp. The edge is nice and sticky, so it's not super polished, but polished enough to be like really fine. You can see the edge glides through that paper very easily. I feel like even though I sharpened this the same way as I did the K390, this feels slightly more refined for some reason. That's probably the steel, I don't know, but because the sharpening steps were identical. Yeah, the sharpening angle was 17 degrees per side, so we have the same degrees per side than on our K390 Delicar. It's just that this one is thicker behind the edge, which is an important piece of information, I guess. But there is not really anything I can do about that, so we just have to live with that. All right, CPM Cruwear. This was a little bit tougher for me to decide when to end this test because it wanted to keep going and it felt like it still wants to cut, but there is just an ever so slight bit of stick at the paper. Yeah, no, I think I'm calling it because it would be unfair to the other steels. But man, I feel like with a little bit of stropping, this knife would be back to cutting so great. Actually, we can test it now because we have already ended the test at 500 cuts. Pretty insane number. Almost reaching the levels of K390, which it shouldn't. 50 more cuts on this rope is a lot, though. But it got close. It got really, really close. And nah, I'm calling it here. 500 cuts, CPM Cruwear. Let's actually find out if we can restrop this really quickly. Because it feels like we could. So just a couple of strokes on leather. And you can see this knife is back to cutting. Maybe not like it was before, but it's definitely restroppable. Cruwear is an insane steel for sure. I like this quite a bit. I like the sharpening experience on this one. I like how the burr came off. I like how long it cuts for how easy it is to sharpen actually. So this one seems to be really well heat treated. I did not expect Cruwear to last this long. The question is if PD1, which should be an equivalent, performs as good as this one does, which I kind of don't think it will, but let's actually find out in a couple of videos or next video. I'm not sure if I test Rex 45 or Cruwear first, but yeah, Cruwear, I like it quite a bit. Really good result on CPM Cruwear on the Spyderco Stretch XL.